back down the stairs. Yeek! Hello. Yipes, you scared me, Rin. Wait, isn't she... Hello? Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting around above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. Ellipsis. The awkward silence lasts for only a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, struggling a coincidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as in the other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups are around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, and the small town feels strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises, I don't know, seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic light jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly. I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel the warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, which making room on the already small bench. I seat myself in the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Amy surprises a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks, I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I sit about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sorts of place I am right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it mean I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunchbox as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great, because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you'd lose it? Would you become a man? I nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and so on the obvious question. How do you two meet? Ren seems content to let Let me answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we got all our limbs. Get it? Ah. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning, not get along. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms, so putting a shirt on seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just going to stop talking now. It'll save me a whole lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With the floor, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps a equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work about their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Asao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Amy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Amy looks mock-offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. Am I suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog looks I've ever seen I am suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at the declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or as acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling the return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs as if it's an acceptable risk. Come on, we'd better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there's about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident that almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I brought from the return slots on the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging that they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Ah, sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay at the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down the fiction section toward the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look around the corner where Hanako had been last time I was here, and not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, so completely in a fairly thick book. I decided against intruding on her like last time, getting back to finding reading material. After an indiscernible amount of time spent pursuing the aisles, I finally decided on a couple books to get and slide them off in the shelf. Without a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk down the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room and read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I start thinking to myself as kind of an Alice too, hapless tumbling down the rabbit hole into this crippled wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most people being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat trumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel rather bad that, it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. Jesus. I mean, I do pretty good at power reading. Shoujo, Katawa Shoujo, Alright, I think I am going to stop it here, because, well, I can record it for a while. Breaks are good. Definitely a bathroom break. So, let's see. We started at 150. So that puts us 350. Wait, really? 2 hours? Jesus Christ, damn.